Greetings everyone and welcome back to the channel, and I hope everyone's doing well out there. Thanks for joining us for another figure unboxing and review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Neca Alien Queen Deluxe action figure. Now, as viewers to my channel will know, I am a huge Alien and Aliens fan. Maybe some of the following sequels are a little bit more hit and miss, but we won't go into that. Now, I believe that this is a reissue of a figure that was actually originally released possibly around 2014. If I've got that date wrong, I'm sure someone will correct me in the comment section below. But I believe it was released to celebrate the 35th anniversary of the movie Aliens coming out, the classic James Cameron movie itself. Now, we've had the teaser trailer for Alien Romulus that's just dropped, so I thought now would be a good time to take a look at this guy. He's literally just come through the door, gone straight in front of the camera, but the review will take the usual format. We'll have a quick look at the box, then we'll be diving down onto the table to have a look at all the accessories, then it'll be out with the bitch herself for a close-up personal look at her, and then we'll be wrapping the whole thing up with the usual mini showcase at the end. But before we dive into the Queen of the Xenomorphs, I'd like to say a huge thank you to everybody who's liked, commented and subscribed to the channel. If you haven't already, please hit that subscription button, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any of the content coming up. We'll be listing what's on the horizon before we zip over to the mini showcase at the end. And as I've mentioned in previous reviews, we will be having a 6-scale figure giveaway when we hit 1,000 subs, so stay tuned for that. And I'd also like to say a huge thank you to William Wang, as always, for providing me with this figure. If it's anything 6-scale, quarter-scale, statues, whatever it might be, anything like that that you're after, drop him a line, and I'm sure he'd be more than willing to help. There'll be a link to his Facebook page in the description below, as always. So let's crack on with this box. It is a big box. I believe this is a 1/12 scale, which most Neca figures are, and this is to keep it in line with their Ripley figures and the colonial marine figures and the other line of other lines of alien figures that they've done. So she's got some heft to her. It's a big box, so let's have a quick look around it. What you've got on the front here is a windowed section, so you can see the Alien Queen behind it with this sort of nice piping around it, that sort of emergency hazard piping that you see a lot of in the film. The cardboard section at the front here, you've got some xenomorph eggs, you've got some poor victims here who've been captured, ready for implantation. It says Aliens at the top, Alien Queen Deluxe action figure, and you've got the warning down at the bottom here. Don't piss this figure off or it's game over, man. Let's take a look at the sides. On the sides, I'm going to have to angle this because this is one heck of a box. Let's just see if we can't slide it over there a little bit. Yeah. Windowed section here, so you can see the figure, and the camera's picking that up. I will try and get this, yeah, you can actually see the Alien Queen's mouth itself sticking out the window there. It says Aliens at the bottom, Alien Queen Deluxe Edition. On the top, that windowed section's continued, it just says Aliens, and that's it on that side. Bring it around this side, and on this side you've got another picture of the Alien Queen herself, the figure itself, and what looks like a figure of a colonial marine as well. Once again, it says Aliens, Alien Queen Deluxe action figure on the top. Let's bring this behemoth of a box around so we can see what's on the back. And you've got this rather nice picture, once again, of the figure itself, with what looks like another 12-scale Neca figure there as well. Some nice photography on the box, very big, very imposing. Once again, it says Aliens, Alien Queen Deluxe action figure, and you've just got a brief blurb at the bottom here about the 35th anniversary and a description of the figure itself. So that is the box. Now, as I mentioned, this box literally has just come through the door. It hasn't been opened, so let's crack those seals open and dive down onto the table and have a look at all the bits and pieces that come with your Alien Queen. Okay, so here we are down on the table with all the accessories that come with your Alien Queen figure. Not a vast amount to go at here, so this shouldn't take too long. The vast amount of the accessories here are simply add-ons that go onto the body of the Alien Queen herself. We'll take a look at those. You get two mouths. There's a short mouth and a long mouth. Now, these are obviously the internal mouth, the mouth within the mouth that all aliens have. We'll have a look at the long one first. Now, paintwork here is very nice. It's got this sort of bluey grey hue. There are blacks in there. There's been multiple paint applications on here to pick out the detail. Looks like some dry brushing as well. I'm sure the camera's picking this up under this light. You've got the clear plastic teeth. I believe these aren't articulated. They're all one solid sculpted piece of plastic, and they have this section at the end here which slots into place inside the mouth. I believe that there's a hole at the back of the mouth which matches this shape, and you simply slot these into place. The smaller version is exactly the same, only smaller and slightly less open. This version, the longer version, has got slightly more of a gaping mouth to it than the smaller version. But yeah, very simple, very effective, nice paintwork. I do like these teeth. I like the clear plastic they've used on the teeth. Not something I will probably be using in the display, because I actually prefer the mouth as it is without this internal mouth. But it's there if you want to use it, and we'll take a look at how it works with the figure when we bring the Queen out herself. So we'll put those to one side. We'll take a quick look at the stand. The stand is very, very simple. It's this sort of V-shaped clear plastic stand. Very simple, not an awful lot to see here, but it does come with two different poles. Now, these poles are metal, and now I believe that one, it all depends on how you pose this figure. Now, because of the nature of this figure, and those who have seen the film will know that it's a very unusual shape. Getting this figure to stand upon its own is not the easiest thing in the world, so some support may be required depending on the pose that you're going for. This longer of the two versions of the pole, which simply slots into the base as most poles do, I believe is designed to support the neck area, or just underneath the head of the Queen herself. The slightly shorter of the two, I believe, is for maybe a body support where the chest area is. But we'll take a look at how these work with the figure when we bring it out. So you've got two options there for display. So yep, that's your stand. All clear plastic. There's no adjustability within these clear plastic heads either. They're solid plastic. And the only other thing really that comes with this figure, I'm going to call them the spines that go on the back. There are 6 here of varying sizes. You have smaller ones, medium-sized ones, and larger ones. We won't take a look at all of them. We'll just pick one out at random. We'll take one of the larger ones, and these actually fit into the back and are adjustable. There's a peg on the end here. We'll see how they work. They work with the figure when we get it out. Paint applications look very nice. You've got these blues. There's blacks in there, and then you've got this sort of gold and copper effect here. Now we'll talk more about this paint, particularly this gold stroke copper effect paint, when we bring the figure out itself. Having revisited the original on a number of occasions, there is a hint of this colour, but yeah, we'll go into that in a bit more depth when we bring the figure out. But overall, the paint applications themselves are very, very well done, and sort of what we come to expect from Neca. There's shading in the crevices. There's multiple paint applications there to give it that depth and that sort of three-dimensional look. Very nicely done, and to the standards that we'd expect from a Neca figure. So yeah, those are the spines, and as I say, you've got 6 to go at. So that's pretty much all the accessories. So without further ado, let's bring out the Queen herself and find out what she's all about. Okay, so here she is, the alien Queen herself, out of the box, not onto the stand. There are reasons for me not using the stand at this point, because this thing is so big and so imposing, and to get it into shot so we can have a look at all the details is going to require a bit of manhandling. So we're going to go standless for the time being, and manage to get this thing to support itself using the tail. As you can see, the screen accuracy is right with what I'm going to call the stiletto heels, which really make it difficult to freestand. And getting it on, once you've got it onto the actual stand itself, moving it around is going to be problematic. But it's going to involve me getting my hands in on this one. So let's have a look at the details themselves. I was going to say, so let's start with the feet, but let's not. Let's just look at this thing overall, because it is so imposing. I was really, really impressed straight out of the box. What I will say though, it's going to be a posing nightmare. It is, simply because of the proportions of this thing. I don't think it was ever designed to be freestanding this way. So, and as you can see, it wants to topple over at every turn. Unboxing this thing as well, those who are familiar with Neca figures will be familiar with the 1001 wire ties that you've got to undo to get this thing out. But once you do get it out, it is exceptionally impressive, and it is huge. I wasn't ready for the scale of this thing. But yeah, let's take a closer look at this. So we'll start with the paintwork first, the sculpt and the paintwork. The sculpt is exceptionally screen accurate as far as I can tell. They've got the proportions are correct. The body itself is perfectly well sculpted. It's screen accurate as far as I can see. It's not without its issues, and we'll get to those. I mean, some of those have come to light straight away as soon as you get your hands on this figure. If you're thinking of picking it up, yeah, it isn't without its issues. But overall, first impressions are very, very good indeed. Let's take a look at some of the detailing on this paintwork. I'll try and get the lights in on this. As I said, this is not the easiest thing in the world to film. So if there's any camera bumps or knocks, or we go out of focus at any point, I do apologise. But we'll start with this paintwork now. They've used a predominantly blue and black paint here, which I believe is screen accurate. There were more blues in this than there were blacks. Although a lot of the shots in the film itself, it's sort of couched in darkness, so you don't really get that full. It's never really under exceptionally bright light like it is here. But I believe the colour is accurate as far as the blues and the blacks go. And there's multiple paint washes on here in the crevices. The sculpting is really nice. You've got jointed toes. I will try and lift her up here. They're very, very stiff. And as with a lot of Neca figures, the joints straight out of the box are exceptionally stiff, so you've got to work with them. It's jointed here at the foot. As I said, there's some give in these toes. There's a little bit of give here. There's no joint here. There are two knee joints. The first one is static. The second one does have a ratchet joint in it, but it's very stiff. Getting that to move is not the easiest thing. It's actually, now that's my mistake, it's not actually jointed there, it's jointed here. It's the first one that's jointed. So the first knee joint is articulated, the second one isn't. The next joint you're gonna come across is the ball joint at the hip, and both of the legs are attached to the hips by ball joints. What did strike me straight away with this, with the paint applications here, is this sort of gold copper effect. Now, having revisited the film itself, I'll bring it round so you can see it on the other side, because it's the same on both sides. It runs down the tail here, along the spines on the back, it's on the elbows, the arms, on these hip, these plates at the top of the legs themselves. Now, having revisited the film, as I said, there is a hint of gold in there, but I think, and this is just my opinion, I think they may have overcooked it a little bit here with this gold. I think it's a little bit too bright. I think it needs toning down, and it may be something that I might have to look at doing myself actually. I think they may have just overcooked it ever so slightly. But yeah, I mean, you can see it here on these fins on the back of the legs, on these almost Achilles tendon sections that run down into the stiletto heels themselves. Yeah, maybe a little bit overdone there, but as far as screen accuracy goes and sculpt goes, I'm very, very impressed. Now, let's take a look at these smaller arms underneath here. Now, these aren't articulated as far as I can tell. They are. It's just called me a lie. There's a left and a right motion in here. There doesn't appear to be any other movement in these at all. No. Actually, it's calling me a liar again. Yeah, the smaller, right, let's get this right. The hands themselves here on these two smaller arms have got ball joints at the wrists. Then there is a right and left movement once it's joined in by the same kind of ball joints again into the body. So there's some movement there. And I believe there may be some movement here. There are no instructions with this, so I'm pretty much winging this. Yeah, there is some give at the elbow of these two as well. So Yeah, but they do feel very, very stiff, and I would exercise caution when manipulating these, because these they are very, very small ball joints. You don't want to snap any. So yeah, there is articulation in the two mini arms. The arms themselves, I believe, are on a ball joint. Yep, they are. So you've got quite a good range of motion there. I'm trying to make sure this doesn't go out of shot or out of focus. I believe there's another ball joint at the elbow there as well, which gives you a really good range of motion there, although it does struggle to get anything above sort of alien shoulder height. So you're articulated at the elbow. The wrist, it doesn't feel like there's much articulation there, if any at all. I think there may be another ball joint there, but the give is negligible. But these hands are very, very well painted with those dark paint washes in the crevices. There's silver on here as well, as you can probably see on the nails and on the knuckles. Let's take a look at the articulation of this head, and let's have a closer look at this head in general. Now I'm going to have to support this with one hand, so I'm going to be doing this one-handed, so bear with me. And I've got to stoop like this so we can get this right into camera. We'll start with this crest, actually. Let's let her fall a little bit so we can see this crest. The sculpt on here is really, really nice and screen accurate. Once again, you've got those gold paint washes in the crevices there. There's black paint washes on here, and it's all got that wet look to it, which once again is exceptionally screen accurate. I believe this crest is supposed to move backwards and forwards. Now, this one hasn't got much give. My version here doesn't seem to want to move. I tried this off camera before we started this take, and there isn't an awful lot of play in this. I will futz it off camera. There is some, as you can probably see there, it's giving a little bit, but not a vast amount. I mean, it's not a major issue to me, because my preferred way of posing her will be with the mouth out like this, without the extra tongue. And while we're here, we'll take a look at this head and mouth. Now, this is articulated on a ball joint, but there's not a vast amount of movement, simply because this cowl, this crown, whatever you want to call it, it actually gets in the way a little bit. But there is some movement there, so you can move this head to one side if you want to. The teeth are a lovely clear plastic. It's got these clear plastic effects on the jawline as well. Fortunately, they've not gone down that soft rubber route. It's more of a clear plastic, but the mouth is fully articulated, so it can open quite wide. And if the camera will pick this up, if you can see inside there, I know the lighting isn't ideal for this kind of work, but inside there is that, and I will bring one of the mouths in for this, I'll bring the long one in, is the little hole that you actually get it. And I've seen other reviews of this, and I know this can be difficult. I doubt very much whether this is going to cooperate on camera, to be honest with you. Doing this one-handed isn't probably the best idea in the world. No, I'm going to give up on this one. I need both hands for this, so yeah, they simply slot in. Oh, that one seems to have gone in. No, it doesn't. This takes a lot of futzing. Yeah, let's put those to one side. Don't want to watch an old man struggling with an alien mouth. But yeah, they are supposed to fit in there, but as I say, I've seen other reviews and heard other comments about this, and that can be a bit problematic. Fortunately, it's not a look that I'm going to go for. But yeah, the sculpt, the paintwork on that head is phenomenal. I say you've got one ball joint there, then there's another ball joint in the neck here. Once again, there's not an awful lot of give in that one. Whether this is simply because it's brand new and needs some work. Then there's another ball joint where the thick part of the neck meets the body, so you've got some twist and give there, not a huge amount. And then it's articulated again here at what we'll call the waist. So as you can see, there's quite a range in that waist section there as well. The tail itself is wired, so it will bend and twist. It's a very, very tough wire, so it's going to take a bit of work, but you can. It would be ideal using this actually as a support for the figure itself, if you when it's on the stand or freestanding. And there's also a range of motion as well, lateral motion in that tail, so you can have it from one side to the other as well. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything. There are some issues, yeah. First of all, these spines. You've probably noticed I've only got 3 of these spines on because I had the head angled because it's a look I like. It's that there's that scene almost in Aliens where she's almost coming round a corner, and you see her hands first, and then this head comes round at an angle, which is just something that really, really appeals to me. And I've sort of tried to replicate that there, but in doing so, you have an issue with the spines on the right-hand side. This cowl will knock off these spines. Now, I put these three in place so you can see how they look and how they move, and they do. There is I'll say a range of motion. There is some motion in there once they're in. Not a vast amount, but it is there, so you can sort of finagle them. But you know, obviously, putting them in there with this cowl piece on this side is just not going to work. It's going to knock them out. And if you bring this back over, as you can see, it's going to push these out. There's not a vast amount of play there, so yeah. Bit of an issue, that one. If you're having the head sort of looking down and you've tilted it, you could probably get both sets in there without knocking them out, but it's not going to be easy. So yeah, there you have it. That is the Alien Queen in all her glory. Now, opinions on this one. Bit of a mixed bag. Overall, I really, really do like it. I think it's the same high standard that we expect from Neca. They've just scaled up, and they've done a great job. I've got the Alien Big Chap, the quarter scale Alien Big Chap, and it reminds me of that. The joints and the difficulty moving them, but it's not without its issues. First of all, I would say the paintwork. Not completely happy with this gold. I think they've overcooked it there. I think some of the joints could be a little bit better. The articulation could be a little bit better. Some of the joints are exceptionally stiff, and really some of them just don't work at all when you're trying to pose it. I'm not saying that they don't work. That's the wrong expression. I think I should correct that. I think they don't work in a way that is conducive to actually posing the figure. Let's put it that way. But the plus sides, excuse me, are screen accuracy is there. The sculpt, I think, is absolutely phenomenal. Paint applications are very, very good, if inaccurate in places. The niggles themselves, I'm not going to call them minor, because they are there. This spine issue being one of them. I think there needs to be more movement given in these ball joints. They needed to be larger, I think, to give it more range of motion, so you could have them out of the way. But overall, I think as a representation of the Alien Queen, I think it's phenomenal. I think it's up to Neca's very, very high standards, although not perfect. So there you have it. That is the Alien Queen from Neca. I'm going to try and get her to stand up on her own again, which is actually easier said than done. We're going to put her back here. Yeah, I don't think this is going to work, because we've manipulated all the joints from the first shot. So yeah, it's going to be a posing nightmare, this figure. But we will do a mini showcase, as we always do. So yeah, that about wraps it up for this section of the Alien Queen. So yeah, all it remains for me to say is thank you for watching. I hope you like this review. If you're thinking of picking this figure up, I hope it's useful for you. If you haven't already, as I mentioned before, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification icon. We have lots more content coming up. What's coming up? In the not too distant future, we have Iconic Studios, Muhammad Ali. That's due in soon. We have the BM Project's Akira bike, Kaneda's bike from Akira. That's coming in soon. Got a new one for the channel. We've got a 6-scale statue, Vincent Price from Infinite. I'm really looking forward to that. What else? Present Toys, Anton Chigurh, No Country for Old Men. Oh, I could go on. The list is endless, and that's also all going to be mixed in with retro reviews, with 1/12 scale stuff, with anything that really comes our way. So yeah, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, so you're not missing anything. So from me, from the bitch herself, all it remains for me to say is thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves, and it's over to the showcase.